Hey everybody, good morning. We're in Orlando. We got Sid with me, one of my co-workers, new co-workers. Very excited about working with Sid. And we are in Orlando, picking up from a little hotel out off of Cimarron Boulevard. And I can't believe it, but Sid's got a Model 3 with FSD on it. So that's kind of crazy. And so last night we were talking over dinner and talking about how his experience with FSD is. And just to kind of refresh everybody, we do not have the new version yet. We are on FSD beta 10.69.2.3. You can see the map data I've got there. We are expecting 10.69.3 according to Elon's tweets this week sometime. So you guys know how that goes. It'll probably come on Friday or Saturday. If I get it before you guys, you can expect I'll give you some sort of insight. But we are engaged, and look, it involved the median network right there, and it's going to wait on two cars. So here's a raised median, just like I have back in Jacksonville. Use the median, and we are on our way. So this is just like a commute from like a airport hotel through Cimarron Boulevard, and it looks like it's going to jump on 528 and then over and around. So it's got a little bit of a mix of FSD and Navigator and Autopilot, and a lot of traffic. This morning on the way over to the hotel, it had a perfect stop sign, pedestrian jumping out, the car stopped, let her walk across, nice. And it went over. But while we're doing this right on red, Sid, why don't you tell me your impressions of FSD on your Model 3? And you're driving in Texas, I believe, mostly right now.
I'm mostly in Dallas, and my experience is sort of similar, except I don't think I'm the same version as you.
Oh, you're one behind maybe?
I'm one behind.
Okay.
Mine, I feel, is a little more aggressive. And so that'd be interesting. It's interesting to see your car do things slightly different than mine.
Yeah. I mean, going from .1 to .2 to .3, those are typically just refinements. And when I was at AI Day, the engineers said, yeah, we kind of tweaked those acceleration jerks a little bit to kind of make it feel more comfortable. And while sometimes I felt some aggressiveness or even maybe more smoothness, sometimes that smoothness, I think, comes to the downside of, like, here, like we're jumping into traffic. And like right now is when I wish I would get a boost. Right. And now it's like it's almost too smooth. Yeah. Now granted, we had a stopped car right here, so that wasn't a perfect scenario. But sure. In my video yesterday, there were several times it jumped out in 60-mile-an-hour traffic, and it just kind of crept into the traffic.
I see that too.
And the car behind me is forced to either stop or weave around. So I don't know. I think it's got to use the repeater cameras or the rear view camera to kind of detect the speed of oncoming traffic to maybe adjust its acceleration curve that way or something. But yeah, something to work on.
It's also interesting with the Tesla score on our app. Sometimes I feel like I drive more conservative than the car, but my score is much lower.
Really?
I'd love to see if it was just the car, what the rating would be.
Yeah. It probably wouldn't get penalized for following too close or maybe, well, it might get hit on braking a lot. I think it decides to brake very aggressively occasionally. That would be interesting. What did your score end up being when you got it?
So it started at like 98, and I thought I was doing great, and then by the end of the week it was like at 91, and then I slowly kept it back up. I'm at like 94. 95.
Were you the only driver on your car?
I was the only driver.
Yeah, I didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't have to go through the safety score because I got beta before they initiated that program. But there was some time in there where we were getting the nags due to this camera. And while I learned how to manage that very, very well, ball caps and glasses affected it first, but my wife got nagged a bunch of times. And on the same car, it just treated the whole car the same. So her nags counted against me.
Even with a different profile?
Even with a different profile. Yeah, so in that, so many strikes and you're out with FSD kind of thing. If you have multiple drivers like I did, it can you got to kind of make sure everybody knows the rules. But
I'd read somewhere online where you could have, I think, if you didn't want to use the FSD, create a different profile without the FSD.
Yep, you can, but that nag persists across the layers. Yeah, for sure. I have a profile for my wife, so we should be taking a right turn here. This is new construction, and it looks like it's going to do it just fine. But when I say new, everybody that kind of watches these videos with me knows that map data is one of the biggest problems on this car finding where it needs to go. But it took that intersection just fine.
Yeah, it's things like this that I'm like, amazed me. I'm like, wow, this is
Look,
so
we have a
simple.
pedestrian over here. Let's see if it reacts to him at all. Nope. Didn't even flinch on a highway pedestrian. I agree. Like, we hadn't intervened at all. We started into a median. Now, we do have a merge coming up, and I don't know what your thought on FSD to Navigator Autopilot merges and how it behaves. There's a couple times, let's just see if it does it. I predict it's going to come around and it's going to hug this left lane. And if there's a truck right next to me, it's very uncomfortable. It looks like it's going to be wide open, but let's see how much speed it uses on this merge. It's at 45, 55. There's the boost. Okay, we don't have any traffic to deal with today. Let's just see how it does. Right here, I didn't do it too bad. Sometimes I feel like it goes too wide, and if there's a truck right next to me, it's
I think this also had a dedicated line, so we were lane, sorry. So
Yeah.
it was fine. But when it merges, I think that does happen.
yeah. It's probably going to react to him. I bet it's going to slow down to give him room. No, it didn't that time. Yeah, sometimes it has changed behavior over the last, I don't know, 6 months or so. And look at this. It's jumping over into a lane that doesn't exist. And see how, and it figured it out right there at the last second. Yeah, I think this is going to be no, I'm not going to say it yet. This is doing really good so far. The traffic is light, I would call it right now, except for that area on Cimarron, but we did end up getting a protected green light. These are the little scenarios where it really does make you feel like there is, a scenario where robotaxi could be done right now today, right?
Yeah.
Although I've documented dozens of scenarios where edge cases would probably keep a regulator forever allowing it, but just to think of, if they can make drives like this start to happen over and over and over repeatedly, picking you up at a hotel and bringing you to work today is as quick as just dialing up a robotaxi.
And I've also realized one thing when I drive or I'm sitting with someone who has FSD, I'm much more critical about what the car is doing in that seat than I am in the back seat or here.
You're not my wife then. Now look, here's a new turn on red. See that sign up there?
Okay.
I've gotten mixed responses on this one. And I don't know what it's going to do today. It feels like it is stopped. It does say stopped at traffic control. Oh, but look, it says use accelerator or gear stalk to continue. Now, is that going to persist after it turns green? Oh, it didn't.
Nice.
It did it right. So that time the notification would have allowed me to override the right on red.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I wonder if that's gotten better. Yeah, back to my wife. She won't even let me turn it on with her in the car. And I don't think it's not like she's afraid of it. She doesn't like the jerkiness, and she just is like, I don't want to play those games you play, kind of a thing. And so I've talked to a lot of other people. See that little indecision right there?
Yeah.
This is the turn lane. That's kind of like a bike lane, and it figured it out. Creeping check. This is a wide open intersection, no obstructions.
It's so nicely done.
It did it. Yeah, we're basically home free. So Sid and I just did a quick little 5-minute drive from Cimarron Boulevard outside of the Orlando airport to our work destination. Oh wow, did you feel that jerk there? It did it just fine, but that was more aggressiveness than it used on the whole drive. And it did it without any disengagements and without any scary close calls that we let go. It did it just fine. So there you go. That may be the last video I put out on 69.2.3 before .3 comes out, hopefully at the end of this week. And let me know what you get in the comments below. Thanks, Sid.
All right. Thanks.
Awesome.
See ya.
Have a great day, everybody.